Hi everyone, Rev Marion here. I thought it'd be fun for this Table Talk Tuesday to go behind the scenes. What does it take to do a worship service? So today I would like to talk about a lot of different topics, and I've invited the staff to come talk too. But for me, I have to figure out what it is we're going to do each week. And I have to pick out what type of service, what's the message, what's the feeling. And to do that, I really try to listen to my heart, listen to you through Zooms or emails or just conversations with people. I read the news. And whatever I'm picking up on, I go back and I find resources, sometimes from scripture, sometimes from other text and readings and books, different things, resources to bring to you. I also work with Brandon and Michaela and Nathan, who are wonderful and amazing, to figure out what's the best music to help with this message for the week. Brandon is very good about trying to find copyright-free hymns or see if we can adjust things as needed so that we don't tread on copyright issues there. We try very hard. Unfortunately, some of our favorite hymns that we love to sing are covered with copyright, and we can't touch them right now until we meet again in person. But we do that, and Brandon also at times finds soloists and special music, so that's a lot of help too. Then I try to pick readings to support the reflection that I deliver as a homily, which is a short sermon. We try to do that. I did one a few weeks ago on ritual, and that was fun because I could not only bring in outside examples and classic examples from wisdom literature, but also personal experience of how important rituals are in our lives and in my life. So we got a lot of feedback from that, which was very good, and people found it very helpful. So I look at the subject, the arc of the service, what elements would support it, work with music, find readings, I write the reflection, and then I have to figure out how to put it all together. I do all the slides, which can take quite a bit of time, but I enjoy doing that. Fortunately, I have a graphic design background, so I have access to some interesting images and I feel like that's a ministry too, just the visual approach. And I try to find images that support what we're trying to say, and oftentimes they will reflect us. Like this past Sunday, I asked you to send in pictures of your moms with up to 5 adjectives, and many of you did that. Elements, I also asked people for things like stories. Last week, we had 3 stories from the congregation, which were just wonderful. They were so moving. So I try to keep our faces in front of each other as well as listen to us to see what we need. And I try to make the services beautiful, meaningful, and I hope always there's some thread of hope in there. To me, that's a gift that I and everyone who presents can give to each other, give to the congregation. And you guys are awesome and amazing. And I'm so glad you're tuning in online. And feel free to share the link every Sunday morning. Anybody can watch our services. And I'm really happy that so many of you do that. On Sunday mornings, once everything's prepared, I am the host. We chose to do a webinar format because it limits Zoom bombing, the risk for other people coming in and doing things that we don't want them to do in our Zoom meetings. But the webinar, we've had to upgrade my Zoom account so we can have up to, at this point, 500 people log in, and it's webinar based, which is different than meetings, but it seems to be working well. I can go up to 1,000, so invite your friends. So come on, everybody can watch the services. Then after the Sunday services, we do a coffee hour, which is Zoom meetings, so we can see each other's faces, which we can't do in the webinar format. But that's worked well too. And usually that is hosted not by me, but by Kelly. So we're gonna hear from Kelly, then Amber, what it takes for her to do the service on Sunday, her part, and then from Eric, and we'll close with Brian. So I hope you enjoy just seeing behind the scenes and what it takes to do Sunday morning. So this is one of the things I get to do every Sunday morning is I get to start a screen share, and I've embedded everything into a PowerPoint presentation so we can go right through and see and listen to Kelly and Amber and Eric, and we'll close with Brian. But all that's in PowerPoint, pre-recorded. So it's a combination of live, pre-recorded, all sorts of things and tricks that we do. I also want to put a thank you out to Angela and for Don for helping us with the tech behind the scenes, because it takes all of us. It's a lot of work, and it's a work of love. So I hope you enjoy, and let's share the screen and see what we get here. Okay, I share the screen to the PowerPoint, and slideshow, play from start. Behind the scenes, Table Talk Tuesday, how online services are crafted. Then we'll just go right down here to the bottom button, and I'll click to the next screen, and we have Kelly who's going to present to us what she does on Sundays.
Hey guys! When Reverend Marion asked us to submit a video for her talking about what it's like to put a Sunday service together, my immediate thought was, oh my gosh, where do we even begin? There's so many things. I think about my time in seminary, and they prepared us so well to do in-person services, but we never talked about doing a Sunday service online. So when we put together our Sunday services, we kind of had to figure it out from scratch on how are we going to do this and really bring the feeling of an in-person Sunday service to you all, even though it's virtual now. And so we each have our individual roles that we play to bring it to you, whether that's from putting links up on Facebook, which we create an event, and then we promote it again on Sunday morning, reminding people to come to the 10 o'clock service. And we send an email out every Sunday reminding people. And we sometimes promote our services throughout the week through Facebook ads. And then we track it all, and we track all of the behind the scenes numbers to see what's working and what's not, and regroup each week to try and figure out how we can reach you all the best way possible. Every week we have a Saturday morning rehearsal, we have a Sunday morning rehearsal, so we really are trying very, very hard to provide the Sunday morning feel for everyone, even though we're online now. But I think the role, as far as my job as congregational life coordinator, has changed enormously, because when we're in person, it feels a lot easier to connect with you because I'm able to make eye contact, and we're actually able to say good morning to each other when you walk in the doors on Sunday morning. And so I know for me, it's been a real adjustment trying to figure out how to do this and still connect with you online. And so that's why I do the introduction each morning to try and connect with you and let you know how to connect back with us as the church. But then it's also all of the little pieces throughout the week trying to make those connection points. So the Thursday community time that we have, that we're now doing game night or coffee hour after the Sunday service. I think it's a lot of fun to get together and get to see everybody at coffee hour, and then go into our breakout rooms and get to share and connect a little bit more. But I am always open and willing to hear suggestions on how to do this better, how to connect with you better. That's my job. I'm here to try and help you connect with the church and feel connected. We never thought when I came to the church that meant that we would be doing it this way. But that's what we have right now, and that's what we're going to do going forward. So please let me know if there are pieces that you are missing, and we'll try and figure out how to do those virtually. We're trying to figure out how to do adult RE classes starting in the fall, all the things that we would be doing in person. We're just making a plan to try and figure out how to do it virtually if that's the way that we need to go. So please feel free to email me if you have any ideas. Otherwise, I will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Thank you, Kelly. And now let's hear from Amber.
I'm Amber Scott, your Religious Exploration Coordinator. The main part of worship that I help with is the children's story or time for all ages. First, I'll go to the worship planning spreadsheet and I will check out the title and the description of the worship service. Usually, I'll also talk to the minister who's preaching to see what they might have in mind. From there, I'll go over to Storyweaver to look for stories. We've been using Storyweaver because the stories are Creative Commons licensed, and since we are streaming worship and posting the recordings to YouTube, we're being extra careful about copyright. Unfortunately, there's not a good way to search for stories thematically on Storyweaver, although you can search for keywords that might appear in the title, the description, or the story itself. So I spend a lot of time searching for stories, reading stories, trying to find good ones, and clicking on related stories or suggested stories to find things that might be suitable. Once I find something that will work for worship, I download it. I often download good stories, even if they're not relevant to the particular worship service I'm working on, so that I have a backlog of stories to choose from. Once you download it, which you can also do at home, it gets 2 files. One is an attribution text file, and I'll take this information and I'll later add it to the recording of the service on YouTube so that people can see where the story came from. The second file is a PDF booklet, and this is where all the text and the images from the story are. So from here, I have to take this and turn it into a PowerPoint. We use a PowerPoint presentation for the whole worship service. Unfortunately, you can't drop a PDF into PowerPoint. Generally, for the Storytime Thursday video blogs, I'll just use the booklet as is. But for worship, we want something a little cleaner, a little sleeker, and frequently we just want the images without the text on every page. So I'll harvest all of the images out of here. There's 2 ways I can do that. One is by taking screenshots from the booklet, and the other, because sometimes there are pages like this where the text is overlaid right in the middle of the picture, I can also go back to Storyweaver and download the files for the images separately as JPEGs. Now you can imagine that's a lot of clicking around. This story has 13 images, so that's either 13 screenshots I'm making or 13 files I'm downloading individually. Once I have those files, I put them in a PowerPoint presentation. I insert each picture individually and then resize it and crop it as needed. And as you can see, here's the cleaned up version with all of the images without the text. Next, I need to go into our shared Google Drive and create the text for the script. Luckily, with these PDF images, for some of the text, I can actually highlight it and copy and paste it. When we're using a regular storybook, we usually have to type out the text or hope someone else has already posted it on the internet. So once I do that, I'll put all of the text in here, including anything extra I'm going to say, and then I'll make any adaptations that are necessary. Storyweaver provides a lot of stories that are for children in India and other countries who are learning English as a second language. So sometimes the translations or wording are a little awkward, or there might be a cultural reference or a word that hasn't been translated to English, or other small details that can be changed for our purpose for worship. Luckily, on a Creative Commons license, I have some leeway to do so. So here is all of the text. Then at the end of the story, when I say the end, I have to add some way of connecting the story to the larger service. This is usually in the form of wondering questions or some statements that hold up the themes in the story that support the themes of the worship service overall. So the story is the main thing that I offer to help with worship. Another small thing I do is I take our worship services and I put them up on our Facebook page as event pages. So I take those worship titles and descriptions and I add them to these individual event pages on Facebook, and each one also gets a cover image. For the cover images, I usually pop over to Pixabay because there are royalty-free images here that are fair to use. Thankfully, the search function on Pixabay is a little bit better than it is on Storyweaver, so you can just type in whatever you're looking for and then see what comes up. And those are all of the ways that I contribute to online worship.
Thank you, Amber. That's a lot of help every week, and I certainly appreciate all that you do. And I know our kids enjoy the stories, and I understand a few adults do as well. Thank you so much. Now let's hear from Reverend Eric.
Marion, hi. You asked me to say a little bit about what it's like to do pastoral care during this time of social distancing, and specifically running the joys and sorrows during our Sunday morning services. First, I will say that it has been weeks since I've been able to make a pastoral visit in person. It's all done on the phone these days, and it's not the same. Not the same at all. Let me see if I can pull up a screen share in just a moment. What I do with Kelly, or sometimes Amber's support, and necessary support on Sunday morning, is to take what people type in to panelists during the Sunday service, typing out their joy or sorrow, and I go to the chat. Let's see if we can pull that up now. And yeah, it looks something like that. And go through. This is the chat from last week, and actually it is a little less than normal. Some weeks people have more to say, sometimes people have less. Especially the first week we did this, boy, it was a steep learning curve, and it's been really helpful to have someone else, in this case, this last week, Kelly. Having a second pair of eyes really helps, because we don't want to miss either a joy or a challenge or a sorrow that people are wanting to share with the rest of the community. We want to get those right. And so it is a process of, as soon as those come in, cutting and pasting, putting them in a document that I then reflect back later on during the service. Sometimes there's a little editing that needs to happen. This last week we had more than one person write in voicing their appreciation to mothers, and didn't want to have too many repeats, so just lifted up both the names and then the extent of what they both had typed in. As opposed to a regular Sunday when we can actually look at each other and get people's attention and say, hey, you forgot that. We're a little more limited. We use texts, and that really helps, but it's, at least for me, and I'm not going to say this as other people on the Sunday crew, it's difficult to pay attention to what's here and here at the same time. We want to get everything right for people. These are the joys and the sorrows. These are words about loved ones, and we want to get that right and get it back to people accurately as quickly as we can. And that's it in a nutshell, as much as I can make it. My best to everyone. Take care.
Thank you, Reverend Eric. One thing I want to add about what we do with joys and sorrows, you might notice that we do not use last names. We do that because we're online and anybody can be listening or watching, which is fine, but we want to make sure that we protect privacy where we can. It's not always perfect, but if you have a question about a joy or sorrow, like which person was that? Attend our coffee hour, which is on a Zoom meeting where we have face contact with each other. Make sure you ask your question there. But it's always important to put your full name in the chat so that Reverend Eric, myself, Kelly, and Amber can see who it is. So if we need to follow up, it really helps. So thank you so much for doing that. And yes, it's just a wonderful ministry that we can do, not only in person, but also online. And now we get to hear from Brian, who has a very different perspective, because Brian's not involved in the Sunday morning piece at all, but he's our church administrator and watches Sunday mornings kind of like the rest of you do. So let's hear what Brian has to say.
Hello, this is Brian Hageman, the Director of Administration at First Unitarian Universalist Church. I want to give you a little insight into what I help do behind the scenes to bring you online church. On Sundays, much like the rest of you, I'm a participant for the most part. I've enjoyed the Sunday services, the readings, the music, the after church coffee hour. that's been really special. I've gotten to know some people that I'd never met before. Of course, I look forward to getting back to church in person and getting to see everyone again. But in the meantime, this has been really special for us to be able to facilitate. After the service, I'm responsible for getting the video online, so you can see it on the website, on Facebook, our Discord server. We cross-post it in a lot of places, so other folks who weren't able to make the live service will be able to watch the video afterwards. Other than that, I'd say my biggest responsibility has been, in a very short period of time, converting the website, the church's website, into an online hub for us to connect and to find out what's happening. You can go there and get the link for the Sunday services. We have weekly blog posts that you also receive the notice of in the email. I want to give a shout out to Cliff Adams. He's been instrumental in helping build a lot of the website that you see that's helping us out for this on Sundays and during the week. What else? Another thing I want to highlight, I guess, and what I want to leave you with is I've been hosting the Wednesday Nature Walk blog posts. I've enjoyed working with several members of the church who share with us their experience getting out in nature, whether it's bird watching. We're going to hear a little bit this week about camping. And I've got some more in line for upcoming weeks, and I hope you'll enjoy those as well. So that's about all I need to say right now, but if you have any ideas for Nature Walk, let me know. And it's good to see you all on Sundays. Bye now.
So, hi everybody. Here we are back live again. So that's a combination you just witnessed of live, PowerPoint, Zoom, and pre-recorded. And I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit long for a Table Talk Tuesday, but I will tell you that every week your staff spends many hours, many hours, days, putting each service together. It's a work that all of us work really hard to make sure we bring the best possible service to you, and that it reflects who we are. And I try my best to make sure that you're seen in that as well. I hope you can join us this coming Sunday. Invite everybody you want. This Sunday, I'm really excited because I looked at the calendar and it was supposed to be Music Sunday, choir concert in the afternoon, and we can't do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to honor all of our musicians and music in our Sunday service. So I hope that you will join us. It's going to be wonderful. And thanks and take care. And I hope you have really enjoyed this Table Talk Tuesday. And if you have any input for future ideas for any of our UU at Home themes, or something you would like to hear about on Sunday morning, or ideas, we would love to hear from you. So thanks for staying tuned, and we'll see you online. Talk to you later. Bye.